Thanks for joining us, everyone. As you enter the meeting, if you could go ahead and mute yourselves. We will have a question and answer session at the end of our presentation. And we will also be recording this session if you miss anything.
Great. They're recording too. Yes. Yes. Okay, let me see if anybody not showing the.
We'll get started in just a couple minutes. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. If you're just entering the room, if you could mute your microphones, we will have a question and answer portion at the end of the presentation. We're just going to let a few more people in and then we'll get started. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christine Goodman, and I am the Director of the Office of Cultural Affairs for the City of Jersey City. And this is the first time we've done a virtual lunch and learn session for our special event permitting open house. And as you're entering the room, if you could mute your microphone, and we will have a opportunity to ask questions.
All right, the ID is 240.
It doesn't matter, I'm on it.
You're on it?
Just gonna take a moment and mute everyone. So, welcome to our special event permitting open house. The focus of today's session is to give you an overview of our special event permitting process. So if you're on this call today, or if you're viewing the video later, this video will walk you through how to apply for a permit and execute an event on public property. If you are hosting an event on private property, you may also choose to use this process because it does help to notify the relevant city departments of the program that you're planning. And that also just helps with information sharing and getting everyone on the same page. So if you are having a large outdoor event or indoor outdoor event that's on private property, you also need to use this process. Okay. So the Office of Cultural Affairs, just to give you a brief overview, if this is your first time
I'm coming
with us. is the office that manages all permitting for events on public property. We also facilitate events that happen inside City Hall, like our flag raisings and cultural events, events that happen inside chambers. All public property includes parks and public streets, and those parks would be municipal parks. So if it is a state park, like Liberty State Park, or if it's a county space, that would go through Hudson County, but all municipal parks are permitted through our office. Cultural Affairs also does not handle any sporting events. That goes through the Department of Recreation and Youth Development. So you could certainly reach out to RYD for that if you're interested in hosting a sporting event. I would like to begin by introducing you to our Cultural Affairs staff. They're on the call now. And we're going to start with Lisa.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. My name is Lisa Catania. I work in Jersey City's Office of Cultural Affairs as a permitting customer service assistant supervisor. I'm here to help you through and navigate the permitting process. No matter how complicated or simple your event is, I'm here to answer any questions you might have and hopefully make the process much easier for you. My phone number, which is on the website, is 201-547-4327. And remember, I'm just a phone call away.
Thanks, Lisa.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Leotis Clyburn, Community Relations Specialist. I generate, review, and distribute the special event application via the DocuSign platform, manage the application's circulation signing process, and create and maintain the spreadsheet that serves as the master tracker of all citywide special events. Additionally, I facilitate the outreach and recruitment of vendors for the City of Jersey City special events, which includes the selection and booking of performing artists for the Summer in the City concert series.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Albert Rodriguez. I am the audio and visual aid for the Office of Cultural Affairs.
Hi, my name is Tara Castaldo. I am the Program Development Specialist for the Office of Cultural Affairs. I am here to help you with advertising and any help you need through the permitting process in this event season. So please don't hesitate to give us a call. We're all here to help.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Migdalia Pagan Milano, and I am the program coordinator of special events. I will be happy to assist you with any of your programming or coordinating needs.
Greg, you're muted.
Good afternoon. My name is Greg Bricky. I'm the exhibition coordinator and gallery curator. I'm also an event planner, and I can help you with artist certification and also mural applications.
Hey, everybody. My name is Glenn Lutman. I'm the audiovisual specialist for the Office of Cultural Affairs. I deal mostly with live sound events, or if you're in-house and you need to use projections, stuff like that, that's where I come in. Thanks.
Great. So we have two wonderful on-site event assistants, Dominique Pollard and Diego Andrade, who you will see at events, providing support for our
Online.
office as well.
On Zoom.
They're here on Zoom?
We have a live participant.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
Sorry.
So next, I would like to turn it over to Migdalia Pagan Milano, who will give us an overview of City Hall events.
Thank you, Director Goodman, and good afternoon, everyone. It is wonderful to see you all joining our 2023 open house, and we look forward to the many events that this year will bring. I am the program coordinator of special events, and I'm happy to assist you with any event taking place in council chambers here at City Hall. Jersey City truly represents a melting pot of nations, ethnicities, and cultural traditions. And in 2020, it was ranked the most diverse city in the country. In celebration of our diversity, I will assist individuals and organizations that would like to display their country's flags for occasions such as independence and anniversaries. We also hoist flags for cultural days and to bring awareness of issues such as autism and Women's History Month, Transgender Day of Visibility, just to name a few. You are all free to contact me at mmilano@jcnj.org or by phone 201-547-6554. Okay, sorry, I'm just going back to my full screen. What you see here is the application for our City Hall events. The one thing that I would like to point out when completing this is that we do require a certificate of insurance for the usage of our council chambers and to process events here at City Hall. So if you have any questions about that, I can be happy to speak with you in regard. Just make sure you complete the application with a 30-day in advance period so that we can get the proclamations in order or resolutions or acknowledgements if you require those. Yep, that's up. Yep, this is all the information that I will be sending to you upon your contact with me.
Thank you, Migdalia. Next, I'd like to turn it over to Leotis Clyburn, who will be giving us an overview of the special event application, starting with the types of permits that we issue out of the Office of Cultural Affairs.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Let me go to my notes here. There are 7 permit types. 3 permit types are issued by the Office of Cultural Affairs. They are the block party permit, the parade permit, and the park permit. Block party is an event sponsored by a nonprofit block association registered with the City of Jersey City Resident Response Center. Parade is a procession of people that is organized along a street spanning more than 1 block. Park permit covers any small gathering that takes place inside a city park that does not include live entertainment or amplified sound, does not include sales or distribution of food by a vendor, and does not include sales or distribution of alcohol. There are 2 permit types issued by the Division of Commerce: the carnival permit and the festival license. Carnival is a temporary outdoor event open to the public that features mechanical amusement rides, games, vendors selling food, and also features amplified sound. Festival is a public event that requires the use of a public space, such as a city park or a public street, featuring live entertainment, food vendors, and merchandise goods. Festivals may take place for 1 day or may last for several days. And finally, there are 2 permit types issued by the Department of Health and Human Services. The farmer's market permit and the flea market permit. Farmer's market is a temporary market established in a public space where farmers or their representatives sell the food that they produced directly to consumers. The farmer's market permit is an annual permit from April through March. Flea market is a temporary outdoor market featuring vendors who sell or trade non-food products. Flea markets operate seasonally from May 1st through September 30th and operate also from October 1st through April 30th.
Thank you, Leotis. Next, we're going to take you through an overview of what we like to call a 6-step process of getting your event permitted. So when you submit your application, that is the first step. So we will, let you know what the full story is when you approach us for getting an event started. So when you're interested in applying for a permit, your first step is going to be to reach out to Lisa Cattaneo in our office. That's ecattaneo@jcnj.org. And you're going to include the information that's on this page. Again, this information is also going to be available and accessible at jerseycityculture.org. You're going to send Lisa the name of your proposed event, the date and time and location of your proposed event, and the name of your nonprofit organization that's hosting this proposed event. After receiving the DocuSign link, after receiving the information, Lisa will send you a DocuSign link. DocuSign is the program that we use to complete the application. You will have 30 days to complete the application through that link, or it will expire. So if you're not ready to start the process, just keep that in mind. You would have to reach out again to request a new link. So that is your first step. And once you've completed your application, which we will walk you through, when you hit finish, it's going to send an email notifying our team that the application has been submitted. And then we will contact you if it looks like there's anything that's missing or needs to be clarified. And then as step 3, we start the circulation for signatures on that permit application of all relevant city departments. And then we contact you with the notification of the completion of that signature sheet and with your follow-up steps. So once you have your permit has finished that circulation and been signed off on, that does not mean that everything is done. There are very crucial steps that you as the applicant will need to follow in enough time to be fully compliant by the time your event takes place. And again, those steps are going to be outlined in that email, which will be sent to you from Leotis Clyburn, and it will be titled Follow-Up Action. That follow-up action is going to have the necessary next steps where you will need to pay fees. And that might be for off-duty officers, that might be to the health department. And then you pay those fees in advance of your event. And then that final step is actually executing your amazing event, which makes our city the vibrant, wonderful place that it is. And so we're here to help with this process. Hopefully this helps you to kind of understand the full picture of what from start to finish happens when you approach us about getting a permit for your event. Now we're going to walk through DocuSign and the actual digital application. When you reach out to Lisa Cattaneo and say you want to do your event, that DocuSign application will go to the email that you have contacted her through, or another email if you specify that. So if you're emailing Lisa, I want to have a parade on May 2nd, down Columbus Drive, please email the application to this email. And you can provide that email link, otherwise it will come to you. This is what it will look like. Sometimes it ends up in your spam folder. So if you are starting the permit application process with us, make sure that you're checking your inbox or your spam box for DocuSign. This is what the first page of the special event permit application looks like. There will also be a sample copy of this application available at jerseycityculture.org. You're going to start with the basics, the title of your event. Make sure that title stays consistent throughout your communications with us. So if you call it, you know, my favorite color is Blue Parade, but then on other applications, you're referring to it as the Red Parade, you know, we won't be able to find it in our system. So even if you end up changing the name on your flyers or adjusting it a little bit, just make sure you make note of how you're communicating with us in terms of the title of that parade or special event or block party or whatever you're filling out the application for. Date of event, location of event, day of the week. Lead organizer, you attach your driver's license, and there is an upload button here. So you'll want to have a document that's got your photo ID on it, ready to go, so you can upload that easily. Entity hosting the event. Contact email. This is the main email that we will reach out to you through. And then we ask for your phone numbers. And then if you have a separate phone number for the public to reach you. Sometimes people will contact us saying, oh, I heard about this festival, and we don't want to give them your private cell phone number. So if you do have a number for the public, we would look for it there. Next, we ask for your nonprofit partner. That would be you as a nonprofit 501c3 entity that would be submitting this application. And there is an upload button where you would upload the proof that's your IRS determination letter. You would upload that right here. If you are not a nonprofit 501c3, this is an important thing to consider when you approach us for doing a public event. You must have a nonprofit partner. And that is a partner, if it's not you as the entity, that is a partner that you have a meaningful relationship with connected to this event. So we're happy to talk through the details of that if you have any questions about what constitutes a meaningful partnership. But we don't want you to pull somebody's 501c3 out of the thin air. We want to make sure that they are an engaged partner, that they're aware that you're using their 501c3 nonprofit status, and that they are engaged in the event itself. Next, you have your start time and your end time. No event is permitted past 10 p.m. You will want events to end at 9. That means the sound is cut off at 9 so that your event actually ends by 10. That is the latest that you can have an event go on the weekend. The start time and end time, that is what you advertise to the public. And again, your end time should never go later than 9 p.m. Setup time is when you plan on being on site, and that is typically the time that we use to determine when you will need police officers for street closure. So if your event utilizes a street and you are closing, your event starts at noon, but you want to start setting up at 10, then we would assume that your street closure would start at 10 too, because you would need that time to move your tents into the street and to set up your vendors. If you need more time than that, make sure that you set that as your startup time. And that setup time is, again, what we use to reference when police officers, if they're needed, would be on site for a street closure. Next, for attendance, you would estimate your attendance for last year if you did have an event and what you anticipate for this year. And then the description of the event is your opportunity to give us a brief overview of what you're looking to do. We will ask you, and I'll get to this later, but if you're just looking to utilize a stage through recreation, you will also be asked to fill out this form. If you're looking to get reserved parking for your indoor event on private property, we will ask you to still use this form. That description of the event is a good time to tell us this. The event is on private property. We are only looking for use of the recreation showmobile stage. We're only looking for restricted parking. Or this is a parade or a festival to celebrate such and such, and give us your concept. This is a really great introduction for everybody to really wrap their head around what you're approaching us with as far as an idea for an event. Next, you'll attach your certificate of insurance. That is $1 million policy or $2 million policy if you're planning to serve alcohol. The risk manager who signs off last on this process, we'll look at that at the end of this signature cycle. So if you have everything else and you don't have your insurance certificate yet from the insurance company, don't let that hold you back. Just upload a sheet of paper saying, we'll follow up with my insurance form, and attach that. And then as soon as your COI comes through, you can email that directly to us. But if you do have your insurance policy, your one-day special event insurance policy, the details of what we need from you are outlined here. It should say the City of Jersey City, its officers and employees as additionally insured. That's where you would upload it. In limited instances, you may ask for an insurance waiver. This is very rare that the risk manager will actually accept a waiver. So keep that in mind. If you're approaching an event, do plan on getting special event insurance. This makes sure everybody is covered appropriately. Some instances where you may consider submitting a waiver letter, which would be addressed to the risk manager outlining why you are requesting a waiver, would be if it's an extremely simple event and maybe this is your first time doing an event of this kind. If you already have insurance, the risk manager will ask you to get insurance, special event insurance for this event. Like I said, it's very rare that they will actually say, okay, we will get a waiver. If you have any questions about doing an insurance waiver, please feel free to reach out. This is the disclaimer that you would check the box here. Next is where you give us information on the location of the event. If it's the park, make sure you include the cross streets if it's a public street. If it's private property, that's where you can outline it there. And then it's important to include a site map of your event. So where are the food vendors going to go? Where's your stage going to go? Or is there seating? All of this is reviewed, and there is a lot of back and forth discussion around actual layouts of events. It doesn't need to be a super professional map, though if you have an extremely large, complicated event, we do encourage you to work with somebody who can do professional layouts. But if you do a Google Earth snapshot and you can by hand write out this will be here, this will be here, and scan that for us, that is a helpful starting place. Next, this is where you let us know if you are going to request a street closure. If so, you let us know where. If you're requesting a curb closure on a public street, and a curb closure means restricted parking. So if you would like to reserve a couple of parking spaces along a park for a food truck, that's where you would do it. We do not allow food trucks to enter parks. So if you are having a park event and you would like to have a food truck as part of that, keep in mind that you will probably want to request a curb closure so that you have restricted parking for that food truck to park in. If your event is a multiple day event, we'd like to know if that street remains closed overnight. and you let us know the time of that. If parking is prohibited or restricted during your event, you would mark this here. And then this outlines how you will, and it will be your responsibility as the applicant to pick up no parking signs from the parking authority and hang them up no less than 48 hours in advance. If you are hanging up no parking signs for your event, you must hang them up no less than 48 hours before your event. We also recommend that you take pictures after you've hung up your signs in case of weather or somebody tears them down. You have that proof. Your parking signs will not be enforceable if they've been torn down or put up at the last minute. So please make sure that you take that picture. And I also like to keep a couple of extra no parking signs and go back and revisit my spot about 24 hours or 12 hours before my event to replace any signs that might have been taken down or fallen down.
Director, they will also be responsible for striking them after the event.
That's a great point. We want to make sure that we're good neighbors, and to that end, please do make sure that you take down your no parking signs after your event. The public safety section here, this is focused on moving assemblies, which encompass parades or religious processions, walks, bike rides, runs. So here we'd like to know how many groups are part of your parade, about how many people you're expecting. Will you have floats? Are you going to have motorized vehicles, hand push carts? What time are you assembling at the location? And then what time are you stepping off? It's very important to know because typically there's a big gap between the two. You want to give yourself a lot of time to get everybody in order. And then we will need to know what is that exact step off time to make sure that you have your police escort. And then what is your finish time and where will you be finishing? Then you let us know the route that you are planning. And here we outline that any motorized vehicles cannot perform tricks or stunts. If you do have horses, you will need to have a plan for cleaning up after those horses. And we as the city do not have the floats anymore. We used to be able to lend some floats internally, but those floats unfortunately are no longer safe to operate. So we cannot offer them for your parade. So just make sure if you are planning on a float that you make your own arrangements for all of those floats. Next is our fire safety portion. We want to know if you're going to be using a generator over 55 gallons, if you're installing electrical wiring. If there are fireworks included in your event, that does need to go through fire safety for a separate firework permit and needs to go through a council meeting. So please, if you're planning on fireworks, give us 90 to 120 days to process that permit application. Does your event include inflatables? If your event is planning to have a bouncy house or a bouncy slide, it must have the proper state tags. The state of New Jersey issues inspection tags. If anybody here is on the call and is planning a block party, sometimes it's tempting to, hey, I have this bouncy house that I use in my backyard that I got off of Amazon. Those are not suitable for public use. There's a lot of reasons why that's a huge liability to have the public utilizing a bouncy house that was bought without any of the inspection requirements that the state does put forward for public events. So here we do ask you to attach a picture of the green state inspection tag from your vendor. There are many vendors in New Jersey that are used to working on public events. They regularly have their bouncy houses and other inflatables inspected. And the fire department will be on site for events. And if they do see inflatables, they will be looking for the green state inspection tags. If you have any questions about suitable vendors or anything about having a safe event with inflatables, please feel free to reach out. If you're setting up tents, you'll let us know here how many tents and what size. If you're looking at a super jumbo tent that's above 900 square feet, that's very rare, but if you are using a massive, massive tent, that does require a further step, so please reach out to us about that. And then we'd like to know if you are going to be having food vendors using an open flame on site. As a reminder, no cooking is allowed in city parks. No cooking. You might see people cooking in a park. They are not doing it legally. It is not allowed. We will not permit any cooking of any kind in parks. If you're having a park event and you would like to have open flame cooking, you may do that in the street, and that would require a street closure and the necessary steps and costs associated with closing a street. So please do keep that in mind. Next is our Department of Health and Human Services section. We'd like to know if you are distributing food for free, or if you're using vendors to sell food, and if there are food trucks present at your event. The event organizer is responsible for paying a food sponsor fee 10 business days prior to the special event. So that is something for you to keep in mind. That you could do by credit card online. It's super easy now to pay your food sponsor fee. Food vendors not registered with the Jersey City Health Department will be required to obtain a temporary vendor license 5 days prior to the start of the event. So if your event does have food vendors, please start thinking about who those food vendors are going to be well in advance of your event. Some of the last minute panics we get from organizers are when they're still trying to confirm food trucks or food vendors, and it's the day before their event. It's a Friday, offices are closed, nothing has been paid, and it's a very stressful situation. So just make sure that if in your advanced planning, you start thinking about those food vendors ahead of time. There is an additional step with food vendors where you fill out a food vendor form for us, and then our office connects you with the health department to make sure that all of those food vendors have their license for the event. Next, we'd like to.
Sorry, excuse me. Christine, can I ask a question about the food vendors, please?
I'm just gonna have questions at the end, okay? There'll be a
Okay,
whole
sure,
open-
thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Next, we'd like to know if animals are going to be involved in your event. If you're having a petting zoo, keep in mind that you will need to bring sanitizer. We don't allow for any, well, the state does not allow for any exotic animals. So the petting zoo animals must be limited to animals that do not fall under the exotic animal category. That's a very rare thing. Typically, if you do a petting zoo, it's pretty straightforward what those animals would be. We also want to know the name and the phone number of the establishment providing the animals. If you're having alcohol at your event, you would let us know here. It is your responsibility to then obtain an ABC license that comes through the state. If you're planning, if you're a nonprofit and you're planning to do this and get a one-day special event alcohol permit, there is a way to set up an account online so that you're doing this with the state virtually, which saves a lot of hurdles. But if you go to the state ABC page, they will walk you through proper licensing. And any other questions on that, you can reach out to us as well. Next, you let us know if you'd like to use the Showmobile through the Department of Recreation and Youth Development. We have 3 sizes: the small Showmobile, which is the one you typically see, the large Showmobile, which is a little bit larger than the small one, and then the main metal stage opens up like a flat surface, or sometimes they keep the back up. So those are the three sizes, but the main metal stage is very large and will require clearance on both sides to be able to open it up. There is a fee associated, hourly rates do apply, and we outline that in our fees page later on. Please note that we don't have any ability to waive fees for these stages. So in your budgeting, please make sure that if you're renting your own stage or renting from recreation, that you take that into account, that there is a fee associated with that. And it does not come out of cultural affairs. So it's not something that we are able to negotiate in any way. They're just the fees are the fees, and we want to make sure you're prepared for them. Entertainment. If your event involves live entertainment, you let us know if it will and if it will have amplified sound. If you have a sound company, you list it here. If you have a stage that's going to be provided by a private company, let us know and let us know the size and the contact info for the company that will be supplying that. Also, a little note about sound. We love to have really big, exciting events. That's part of why you work so hard to bring people together. You want to make sure they're really immersed in the spirit of what you're presenting. And we ask for you to balance that with the neighborly aspect of what we want everybody to keep in mind. We want to always be good neighbors first and foremost. So that does mean that we do want to consider that there are residents surrounding areas where we do have public events. You may be asked to turn the volume down a little bit. You may, get feedback from neighbors about the sound around your event. Let's be neighborly and work together and try and find a good balance between vibrant events that your attendees are loving and also being good neighbors to neighbors in the surrounding area. Just because there is a permit issued does not mean that you could not be asked to turn down that volume. So a permit does not equal, I can go to, volume 25. So we try and strike a balance, and, for the most part, this isn't an issue, but it's something to keep in mind as we approach event planning. Next is the Department of Public Works Buildings and Streets. Barricades are those bicycle racks that are 8 feet long. We'd like to know if you need any for your event. Typically, those are dropped the Friday before an event weekend. So it's important that you let us know what corner you want those barricades dropped, because you and your team will be physically carrying them to wherever you need them. So you will want to have that street corner as close to where you need to place the barricades as possible. And that is where you will find them on the day of your event. Next is Department of Public Works Sanitation. We require you to rent street sweepers for any parades, walks, processions, street festivals, especially if food vendors and/or alcohol are involved. You can let us know what your trash plan is for big events. We require a dumpster or a packer truck pickup, and that depends on the attendance number. But do make sure you have a trash plan, and that's something to also communicate to your volunteers. If you do have a volunteer team that's helping you clean up, to pick up the trash at the end, that's part of your planning, and to find one area to consolidate all that trash at the end of your event. Just as we want to be good neighbors with sound, we want to be good neighbors with trash, and we always want to leave spaces as we found them or better. We do ask for adequate trash and recycling receptacles to be provided at your event, with bags to accommodate the trash. They are available to rent through the DPW with just a deposit, and you get your deposit back when those trash cans are returned. Those are the folding wire ones. We do recommend that you have a professional cleaning company to help with your public event, or you could hire DPW sanitation for your event. If you are not going to be working with DPW sanitation, please let us know the name and contact number of your professional company that is you are hiring for cleanup. Next is commerce. This is where we'd like to know if you are vending, if you have vendors that are selling goods or services, if alcohol is going to be consumed, because again, that is a commerce related fee. And if you're conducting raffles or games of chance. So if you do plan to have a raffle, you must register with the state for a games of chance license. And we do recommend that you don't roll the dice on that one, because the state does do site visits to check if you've promoted a raffle or another game of chance. We have heard of people getting visited on site, and they will ask for your license. So it doesn't take a lot to go to the state website to register for your license and to make sure that you are all squared away if you do plan on having a raffle or 50-50 or something like that. Let me also just mention here under commerce that you will be, for festival permits, you will be required to submit a $1,000 refundable bond. As first-time applicants, a lot of folks are caught by surprise. By the end of the process, suddenly you have to go to commerce and give them $1,000. I know we all run tight budgets for our events, so please plan on that. That is essential in order to get your festival permit. If you don't pay that bond, you won't get your permit. And that is to make sure that the space is returned as you found it. If anything is, broken or destroyed, it will come out of that bond. But, chances are pretty likely that you will get it back immediately. And that comes out of the next council meeting following your event. If you're having your event filmed professionally, you'll let us know that. This goes to our Film JC film department. If you're doing a commercial shoot, that again kicks that over to our film department so that you can talk to them about any potential permits that are needed. And if you are planning to use a drone, drones have become very popular these days. Please keep in mind that you do need a special permit. You need FAA certification. And you do need to follow a process to make sure that you can fly a drone. So a lot of times we're having a big, exciting event. Your friend has a drone. You want to get a shot from up above to show how many people and how awesome the event was. You may not fly a drone unless you get the proper certification through Film JC. So please let us know. And this is all the more reason to fill out your permit applications in advance, so you have more than enough time to go through the proper process and get your permit so that you can fly your drone. There's also a lot of guidelines around where you can fly a drone and how you can fly a drone, especially when you have groups of people, to make sure that you're doing this safely. For basic necessities, this is where you will let us know how many porta-johns and what company you will be working with to provide facilities for the public. It is required that you do make restroom facilities available for the public and clean drinkable water available at events. So you can have water stations, bottled water, you can have vendors selling water, but we do want to make sure, especially in those really warm months, that you have thought about water. For severe weather and rescheduling, this is where we're just giving you a heads up that we cannot plan on weather dates with you in advance. So if you, for your internal planning purposes, are doing a very large event, you really want to make sure that you have a rain date and you're working that in. That rain date is not confirmed with us. You will need to confirm that date with us in the event that you do need to reschedule. And the reason is these, Saturdays in the summer are high demand days. If you have a Saturday event, we can't guarantee that the next Saturday, everything that you require on the city side is available, or that the space is even available for your event. We will work with you to reschedule. We've done it before. We're always happy to do that. But please just keep in mind that we cannot confirm a rain date in advance with you. That being said, I think it's a great idea to always plan for other options in case of a weather issue. So if you have an indoor option, or if you want to, in your group, plan on 1 or 2 rescheduling dates, that would be great. Typically, and this is just, you know, from what I've seen in the past, if you're doing an event on a Saturday, it's usually easier to do it on the Sunday if you have to reschedule it, rather than trying to find another Saturday. Just because Sundays don't tend to be as high demand of days as Saturdays. Just something to keep in mind. Here is the indemnification section where you will sign off on your indemnification to indemnify the city. And then you will sign at the end. Okay, that is the application. Oh wait, it's not the application, I lied. Your event safety plan. This is where you will talk through any sort of safety measures that you have planned to respond to COVID-19. This, we realize, is an ever-changing conversation. Right now, this is a part of the application. It may not continue to be part of the application for the entire event season. These guidelines are being revisited continually by the health department and public safety. But please do, if you are going to be applying with us right away, please do expect that this will be a part of the application, and to let us know in the event of a COVID-19 spike, how you will keep your event safe for the public. And this is where you'll outline that plan. And then when you submit, it says you're done. Thanks for using DocuSign. That's when we'll get the notification that you have submitted your application and the next steps will kick off. This does not mean that you're totally done and your permit's been signed off and you're ready to go. You want to hold off on publicizing your event until you receive word from us via the next steps email from Leotis that your permit application has completed circulation and you now may move to the next steps. This says you have submitted and we have confirmed that it has gone through DocuSign. This is an internal document, and this is just for your information that after we receive that application, our wonderful permitting staff will put together an overview sheet for the department, for the necessary departments to review, where we'll hit all of the main things: where, when, who's involved, what are the major points of your event, will you be needing certain city services? And this will be the cover sheet, if you will, that will go with the signature sheet to all of our city departments. This is what the signature page will look like. Again, you won't see this, but if your permit application does get denied for whatever reason by a specific department that will need to sign off, they will click not approved, and we will then notify you of the that the approval has not gone through for your permit application. This signature sheet I like to show because this is why we cannot put a permit application through in 3 days. I know a lot of people have great ideas, ran out of time, forgot to approach us. Oh my gosh, the event is this weekend. This is the reason why we ask for 60 to 90 days to circulate a permit application, or 120 if you have a very complicated event, because all of these signatures need to go through before you can go to your next step on your application. Not all of these departments will be relevant for your event, especially if you have a very simple park event, but in most cases, all of the folks who are on the signature page will be reading through the application and asking questions, talking internally, and then ultimately signing off on your permit. Amendments and cancellations. I touched on this earlier. If you do need to amend your application due to weather or cancel your event due to something coming up, you would put that in writing to us. If you have to amend your application for any reason, suppose you decided that you do want a street closure, but your original application did not include a street closure. You would email us and let us know that you'd like to amend your application. If you change the location of your event, if there's a big piece that you're changing, maybe you want to change the date, put that in writing to us. And again, that would go to Lisa Catania at ecatania@jcnj.org, and that will circulate for signatures. Once again, we go back to this page to circulate an amendment. If you're having a special event, you may be contacted about holding a public safety meeting. A public safety meeting is typically the opportunity for us to all meet with other departments in person to talk through your application. This is when we ask you to bring a map, a layout of your event, and we talk through from the preparations to the execution to where your food vendor is going to be, how many people are you expecting,
And the cleanup.
And the cleanup plan, exactly. So you may be contacted to come and attend a public safety meeting, and that's when you as the applicant and any of your main organizers involved in the event should come and meet with us and talk through the particulars. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Leotis to talk through his follow-up action email.
Hello, everyone. Let me unmute myself. Oh, I am unmuted. Okay, fine. As mentioned in step number 4, after the application has completed, circulating, and is approved, you will receive an email with the fully signed and completed application attached. This email will also provide any follow-up actions you may need to take before your event date, such as fees to be paid, submitting your food vendor list, or when to obtain no parking signs. Everything you will need to know that will prepare you with relevant information concerning your event. That's the follow-up action email.
Thank you. So that's a very important email, and that is one that we do ask you to read through extremely carefully, because that is going to contain everything you need to know in order to get to the finish line, by which we mean the start of your event, our finish line. Next, we're going to talk through the fees. This is viewable on jerseycityculture.org. This is a basic overview. The fees are subject to change, but we do like to give you an idea for your own fundraising and planning purposes. This outlines that food sponsor fee that is your responsibility, that will need to be paid at least 10 days in advance to the health department, which you can pay through a link they provide by credit card. Your food vendors have a temporary food vendor fee. There is a fee to the fire safety for open flame permit to be paid by a cooking vendor. If you do have other large generators, there might be other fees associated with that. Food truck fees, inspector fees, and then fire truck if you do require a fire truck at your event. For police, there are off-duty fees here. This is your rate, $35 an hour for 501c3 nonprofits. Even if you are a 501c3 nonprofit, if you are serving alcohol at your festival, you will be paying $55 an hour per officer. And then there's other fees here for crossing guards, city-owned facility, police vehicles, and then they have administrative fees. Sanitation, the Department of Public Works has their own fee schedule. I believe we have last year's fees viewable at our website. But as an overview, there is a fee to have that street sweeper come through, which is required for your festival or moving assembly. You can rent trash cans and trash bags. You can hire the services of DPW for on-site cleanup. And then there's fees associated with dumpsters and with roll-offs. Your event may be required to have a roll-off as a street closure for a safety measure, and there is a fee associated with those roll-offs as well. No parking signs are $20 per sign, excuse me, waived with proof of 501c3 status. However, they do have a fee that kicks in after a certain number of signs. Does anybody remember offhand what that number is? I want to say 50. After 50 signs, you start paying, but.
No, 50 is too high. I think I want to say safely 20, but again, we can confirm that, but it's 50 is too high. It's about 20 signs.
So for most events, with your proof of 501c3 status, you will not need to pay for no parking signs. If you're having a very large event, please keep that in mind that you might need to pay above a certain number of signs. When you go to parking enforcement, they will not give you no parking signs. If you show up and you say, hey, I got my next steps email from Leotis, I'm here to get my no parking signs. They will not issue you no parking signs. So I'm trying to save you a trip to the parking authority. Bring a printout of your application that you've submitted to us. Bring a printout of your parking regulation, which will be a part of your next steps email. You need those two things in order to show up to parking authority and get your no parking signs. Don't show up empty-handed. They will turn you away.
Hey, excuse me, let me interject here real quick.
Yeah.
So for nonprofits, the first 25 signs are free, and above 25 signs, it is $1 per sign.
Great. Thank you. For commerce, if you're having a festival, that's a $25 fee to commerce. If you're a for-profit, it's $200 a day. There's that refundable bond I told you about, $1,000. Also, you need to pay that to commerce. ABC catering permit, $75 a day. If you're a for-profit, and if you do get that nonprofit social affair permit to serve alcohol for your event through the state, you will also need to pay $50 to commerce for that ABC permit. The Showmobile, as we said, there are hourly fees associated with the use of the stages through Recreation Now. That's $30 an hour with a minimum of 4 hours for the small Showmobile, $45 an hour for the large Showmobile, and $37 an hour for the main metal stage. Rental begins at least 1 hour prior to the start of your event. So please do keep that in mind with your planning. So before we get to the open questions, there were some frequently asked questions that we have heard that we wanted to address to kick off our discussion. Migdalia?
Sure, thank you, Director. So firstly, I just wanted to recap the documents that are going to be needed when you do complete this permit. Number 1, insurance. Number 2, the 501c3 or the determination letter. Number 3, the site plan. And number 4, the safety plan. That's the COVID safety plan for now until further notice. And then number 5, make sure you have your driver's license, ID. That would be a photocopy of the front and the back. Okay, with regard to block parties, I know a lot of the times we get questions. Oh, I want to, do a block party next week. How do I get a permit? And the answer to that is there is a time frame, and there are many different aspects to a block party. Number one, a block party is for civic pride, not for private affairs. So that being said, you must be a registered block association in order to attain a permit for a block party. And the registration comes from the Resident Response Center. So if you would like to host a block party, but do not have a block association, you can absolutely begin one and register, have a few meetings, and show that it is a bona fide a block association, and we'll be happy to grant you a block permit.
Lisa, I believe you had another.
Yes. Hi, I'm Lisa Catania. I just want to make 2 points like Migdalia did regarding the permit process. When Director Goodman spoke about the name, that should really begin in the first email to me. Whatever you decide the title of your event is, think it through, send it, and then when you get your application, it should be the same, because once I send you the DocuSign link, that's what it's in our system as. So it would just help when we're looking for it if you try to keep continuity between all of them. Secondly, at the end of the application, there's a signature, which again, Director Goodman said. However, throughout the application, you have to initial. There are several places where you have to initial your name, that you comply and you understand the section. The other thing I was going to talk about was off-duty. Basically, off-duty officers are required for all street closings. The police department will ascertain whether it's completely necessary for your specific event, and then you will be contacted by the liaison for the department and be given an invoice. You will be contacted somewhere once the application begins to be circulated and they deem that you do definitely need off-duty. You will then be contacted and given an invoice, and no permits can be issued until that invoice is paid. So I just wanted to clarify those points.
Lisa, just to throw a question in that someone has in the comments regarding the police officers, they're asking for clarity on how many police officers we should be budgeting for, and if there's a calculation for the number of police officers used.
I have the answer for that. So we do not determine the number of off-duty officers. That comes from public safety. So they would really make the determination for that. You can assume that you will need officers if you have a street closure, and you will need officers if you have alcohol. So right away, if you know you're serving alcohol and you know you're closing the street, that's going to be probably 3 officers. But aside from that, that is really a basic, things that are required, but it really is determined by public safety. Albert, did you have another frequently asked question?
Yes, thank you, Director. I just wanted to mention again, I know Director Goodman mentioned earlier about timelines. We stress that for you, the event organizer, to have your application as soon as possible. Once the application is completed, it will circulate through numerous departments throughout the city. For anything that's small scale events such as educational programs, music and movie series, yoga, library events, please allow 30 to 60 days for full completion of your application. And for large scale events such as festivals, carnivals, parades, please allow 90 to 120 business days for full completion of your application.
Thank you, Albert. Right. I see that a lot of the questions are being answered in the chat as we go. That's awesome. We want to let you know too that jerseycityculture.org is your resource for information and promotion. I'd like to turn it over now to Tara Castaldo to talk us through that. I think we're having a hard time hearing Tara.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's all right, Tara. I'll give a brief overview. I'm sure everybody's tired of hearing my voice, but this is the jerseycityculture.org website here. This is where we post events. Please feel free to submit your events to us. If you go up to our navigation page, here's where you'll find under About the staff directory, where you can find the contact information for any of us on this call. Under resources is where special event permits is going to live. So if you'd like to see a sample application, or if you would like to see those event fees again, you can see those under resources. Down here at add your event in the lower right-hand side is where you would submit events to Tara, who is awesome and always really responsive. So she will make sure that your event is reviewed for submission onto our website. Thanks, Tara. Here is that resource page I told you about that will have the links to everything, including this recorded video, to watch and prep and access any information you may need as you prepare your event. This is what the calendar looks like when your events are submitted. It will go up here. If you're doing like a play that has multiple events, event dates, please only submit for your opening night and include all the dates in the body of that, because we don't want to dominate a calendar with one event that has a lot of show dates. So we will list an opening night, or if you're having a special event as part of the series, you can list that. Now back to the day of the event. You've done all the preparation, you've listed your event with Tara, you've gotten your next steps from Leotis, you submitted your event to Tara, to Lisa, to get your permit application, everything's circulated, you did your next steps. Then you can come to this wonderful day to have your event. We ask that you are the first person on site. So if your starting event time on your application says 8 a.m., please be on site by 7:30. Everything starts kicking off really fast and furious, and people are going to want you to be there to answer questions. So please plan on being early to your event, on site for the entire event, and to be the last one to leave. If you're having an after party for your festival, somebody else should run that. Or if you have to run it, you should have a point of contact on site that can answer all necessary questions. And if your breakdown takes till 2 a.m., somebody from your organization will need to be on site until 2 a.m. The city is here to support and help facilitate, but we're not running your event. You are running your event, and so that's why it's crucial that we have you from the very start to the very end. If you have also, if you do have off-duty officers, or if you are having restricted parking, we want to make sure that you have phone numbers ahead of time for non-emergency police line, for the parking authority, so that you can make calls if a car needs to be towed or something like that. So if that's something you're planning, please make sure you reach out to us for all the tools that you'll need on site to help execute your event. All right, so now we'd like to have questions. Most of them are being answered in the chat, but if you do have some questions, please feel free.
I have a question.
Okay, great.
Hi, Christina. My question is, if the event is held on private property, is the application still required?
Great question. An application is not required for private property. However, if you're having restricted parking as part of your event, you will be asked to go through this process just to request that no parking. And in the event description, let us know this event is on private property. We are only requesting restricted parking.
Okay.
No parking signs, right? If your event is in a parking lot, we really do ask that you complete this permit. It's not for signatures, but it's for us to all know what's happening. So, for example, suppose you're doing an event in a parking lot and somebody comes to us and wants to do a festival in the street right next to your parking lot. If we don't know you're doing the event in your parking lot, we wouldn't know to communicate to that organizer. They might want to think of a different location.
Okay.
Or if there is a run or a 5K that's going right past your private event, we would want to know about your event so we can let you know in advance that it might be a challenge for people to access the road between this hour and this hour. So it's really in the interest of information sharing. If you're having a smaller indoor event, there's no need to go through our office, but it is something to keep in mind for those events that might really need, everybody to kind of be on the same page about.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And then I just have a comment, I would say. I just went through street closing, excuse me, in June and September. As far as the parking authority, they don't give you anything free up front. You pay $1 for each one of those parking street signs. So I noticed Leotis said that you get the first how many for free, and then thereafter it's $1. I got 6 of them and I paid $6.
Okay, so what you'll want to do in that case is bring the printout of your 501c3 nonprofit IRS determination letter.
Okay.
So if you print out your whole permit application, you've attached it already for us, so it should be part of that packet. But if you just need to bring a copy in addition, just to make sure you can show them, no, we're a 501c3.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Can I ask a question, please?
Sure.
All right. Thank you so much, Culture Affairs, for all the work, making the things easier for the event organizer. Last year, we were having an issue with the food trucks. So the food trucks are not allowed in the park, and they are still getting permits to be in the event, and they were parking on the streets. But then what happened, a couple of other food trucks were parked there too. And of course, they did not get any event permit, or they did not do anything for the event participation, but we could not stop them. So that was constant struggle, because of course we asked them, you cannot be here, we are doing a private event. But then they said they are always there.
Where's your event?
So
can you give me a location?
Yes, Hamilton Park. Most of the issues were with the ice cream trucks. And I reached out to the health department. Of course, they were pretty cooperative. They were trying to do everything, but it's like constant struggle we were having with other food trucks.
Yeah.
And also there's no motivation for them to get the special permit or license if they are anyways parking on the street.
There's a specific part around Hamilton Park where they park all the time.
N- No, around the park, not just one street. They were around the park. That's what they say. They were telling us that they always park around the same street. So why are we stopping them now?
Christine, hi, this is Elna here. Wait just a second. May I interject here, Christine?
Sure.
Yeah, I know what she's talking about, not for my particular event, but there had been another organization that had an event, and she did have a couple of food vendors. This was before food trucks were banned in the park. And the ice cream trucks, there's always an ice cream truck war around our park. So 2 or 3 additional trucks would come in. One of the ice cream trucks, in one case that I am aware of, was a registered vendor for this event, and they had paid a vendor fee to be in attendance. But it's the other ice cream trucks that might come around and try to, in essence, they're taking away customers. They have a right to be on the street. That's a problem. So who would we contact? Is it the police department?
Yes, that would be a coordinated effort with the East District to have the
Non-participating
the
vendor?
non-participating truck not circling around on the curb.
Mhm.
And to answer your other question regarding the food trucks being in the park, my understanding is that it was never banned. The trucks legally should not be in the park at all. And it's a safety issue with the kids running around, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if the trucks were there prior to what you're now saying is a ban, they were never supposed to be there in the first place.
Oh, I'm going back, X number of years regarding that.
Mhm.
Because once the trucks are in, they move only twice to come in and then go out. And for our particular case, for the farmer's market, for example, they get escorted in and out by a volunteer in a yellow vest. So it's very, very frustrating to have them on the street where they don't really feel as though they're part of the market. And so, I'm not able to get more trucks than what I have right now. Aside from the fact that because of that, and they don't allow our vendors to park in the park, I'm taking up 2 blocks of street parking.
So I'm happy to help dive in, and Leotis as well. We can work with you on this particular challenge here. I would say for food vendors, if you want to maximize your food vendor in Hamilton Park, given those challenges, you might want to think about having tented vendors inside the park.
I already have them.
Yeah.
I'm talking about food trucks.
No, I know. I'm
Because-
saying for
yeah.
a specific event.
Mhm, mhm.
So we're happy to keep working with you on this particular issue.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Elna, for backing me up here. It was pretty challenging, Christine. With food vendor, working with food vendors is anyways hard, and asking them to pay extra for the license, and then you cannot be there in the park or around the park. There are other food trucks where we can't control. It was little challenging on that front.
Sure. And there are other areas that have had to face that challenge with food trucks as well. Yeah. So we'll continue this conversation and help find a solution for you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
We got a couple of questions here in the chat. Sorry, Leotis, I muted you on accident. So the Reverend Webb had asked about sound being provided for events. If there are any requests for things that you are seeking sponsorship for, that may be sound from cultural affairs, that may be porta-johns, just be aware that our city budgets are being cut this year. We are trying to be supportive in all ways possible. If you do have any sponsorship requests, they should come to me in writing, cgoodman@jcnj.org, so we can let you know if that is possible. But for the most part, if you do require porta-johns for your event or sound, you will need to secure your porta-johns and your sound company through your own means this year. If you'd like to talk through any of that, again, please reach out to me directly to talk about partnerships and sponsorships. There was, let's see, there is, so for the park outside of City Hall, the City Hall Plaza, that is considered a park. And if you're looking to do an event outside of City Hall, that does require a permit, the same permit that you've just seen. If you are doing this as part of a flag raising event, yes, you will still need to do a park permit as part of it. If you're looking to grill for an event, that will need to be done in the street, and that will require a street closure. Any other questions?
Director, I'd just like to note one more thing, just about alcohol in parks. I don't think we really touched upon that. I know we did talk about no open flame in parks, but also alcohol.
Well, any alcohol associated with a special event will need ABC permit. And that is something that you acquire through the state.
Excuse me, Christine, my understanding is no alcohol at all in the park, in any park.
Well, the permit, you would go through the permit process.
No, meaning that if you have alcohol, you'd have to be outside the park, for example, street closure.
In the street. Any other questions?
Hi, hello. My name is Monica Harwell, and I'm part of the Bayview Skyline Block Association. And we are looking to do a block party, so I guess you will be hearing from me soon. But the question I do have, we're looking to do hot dogs, but we're just gonna do more or less I guess like a little small rental hot dog roller or something like that to give away free. Do we still need to note that on the application that food is being served for something that small, nothing with open flame or anything like that? Just
Yes, the health department will want to know that you're serving food for free.
okay,
And as part of that, they'll want to know where the food's coming from.
gotcha. Okay.
Now, are you doing a park event or are you doing a block party?
It's actually just a block party. And I'm sure because the things we're looking into now, because we're on Bayview Avenue, if we're able to do a partial street closure. If not, we're going to actually reach out to School 41 to see if we can use their parking lot. So those are the two options we're looking at.
So are you a registered block association with the Residents Response Center?
Yes, we are. Yes.
Okay, great. So the street closure comes along with your block party as a registered block association.
Awesome. Thank you.
And I just wanted to note that the sale of food, goods, or beverages is forbidden for block parties.
Okay,
Yes.
so there's no eating, you saying no, we're not selling, like I said, we just like to have small hot dogs or drinks for the kids. So you saying that's not permitted?
It is permitted.
That is permitted, yeah,
Oh,
just the
okay.
sale of any food
Oh,
or
yeah,
beverages
no,
or,
not-
yeah,
No
that's,
selling, no, it's all free, no. Thank you.
And usually your block association letter will tell you where you can have your block party. There's certain streets that it's allocated to.
Okay, thank you, because just so everyone knows, and you probably do know, we're on Bayview and everyone, well, we've been told years ago that because it's a fire route, going towards the turnpike or whatever, we could not block off Bayview. So that's one of the things we was trying to find out if that law's still there or
Yeah, that makes sense. And we defer to public safety's call on that. So if you have been told that in the past, please refer to that guidance because certainly we want to make sure everybody's safe. If you're looking for an alternate side street, we can help you with that. Or if you are looking at the school parking lot, you would still want to fill out, the application so that we know it's going on.
Awesome.
Especially since, we would want to make sure that people are notified.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining our information session. We are here for all of your questions. If you're like me, you'll probably think of questions as soon as we hang up from this call or when you're in the middle of your process of completing your permit. But we are always here to help you. And oh, I feel like my screen has frozen. There we go. Hi. We're always here to help you, so please feel free to reach out. And again, that's jerseycityculture.org for any of your questions. Directly following this information session, permit applications will be available for 2023. So if you're ready to dive in and your event is happening in the first 6 months of the year, please reach out to Lisa Cattaneo at ecattaneo@jcnj.org with the name of your event, the date and location, and your 501c3 nonprofit partner so she can start getting those applications out. So from all of us at Cultural Affairs, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing your event in 2023. Stay safe and stay healthy, everyone.
Thank you. See you guys later.
Thank you, Director, for your well thought out explanation of the process.